This is part 2 of current affairs for 15th October 2016. Please refer to part 1 also. The next item is Center plans to revive counter-terrorism body. This is regarding the National Counter-Terrorism Center, which was proposed by the former central government of UPA. It was the pet project of Home Minister P. Chidambaram, but it faced opposition from state governments and majorly from the Gujarat CM Narendra Modi. It was said to be against the idea of federalism, states' powers would be reduced. So it never went ahead. Now the present government is talking of reviving it. Earlier it was proposed its response to the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, and presently too now government wants, it says that it will bring in consensus, so it will have consultation with state governments, bring them on board, and National Counter-Terrorism Center will be established. So this will bring in collation of all information from all states, and it will also have the power to carry out anti-terrorism operations. So state governments feel that this will affect the mandate of the state police and will overlap with them. So their powers in law and order, because law and order is basically a state subject, that power would be encroached on. So that is the main resistance. So let's see if the consensus comes up and some development happens on this count. But of course it will be very important because there will be a complete record, national record of all terror suspects, including their family members, everything in a single database. So of course it should go ahead, but let's see. Next news item is government to use post offices to distribute pulses. So the government does not want shortage of pulses before the festival season, and also it does not want pulses prices to escalate. So to ensure this does not take place, it is releasing buffer stock pulses in the markets through government outlets in states, and it says if there are no government outlets, then even post offices can be used for this purpose. So post offices in India have a very good network and coverage. They are used for multiple purposes. Even they act as bank outlets also. They can have, people can have post office deposits both there. So that is a good thing which we have in India. So even in times of email and quick services, courier services, postage offices, postal network of India is of much relevance and can be used for multiple other sources. So this is a point which you can use for various other suggestions which may be asked in UPSC also. Then the next news item is self-powered UV photodetector charges energy storage devices. So this is a novel approach through the researchers from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. So UV detection takes place on zinc oxide. So zinc oxide nanorods. This is the conventional photodetector here shown in this picture. So zinc oxide nanorods are used for photodetection, but what these ultraviolet rays, so ultraviolet rays of the sunlight can also be used for energy storage and conversion. So for that purpose, zinc oxide is used as nanorods. But then these researchers have doped the zinc oxide with vanadium. So vanadium doped zinc oxide results in, rather than nanorods giving nanoflakes. So nanoflakes give more surface area to volume compared to nanorods. So there is better absorption of UV radiations. Then they are also used hydrogenation on it. So after hydrogenation, even the UV detection and retention becomes better. Even this doping with vanadium results in some band gaps emerging in the zinc oxide base, which results in more concentration of UV radiations also. So that helps in trapping of UV rays. So that is another benefit. So eventually it results in photo signals being detected within milliseconds. So it's much more efficient and it's nearly 1000 times faster than the conventional UV photodetectors. So this has been a breakthrough done. So these UV photodetectors basically convert UV radiations into electricity, and then they can be self-powered through UV radiations, and then they can be used to charge even energy storage devices. So that is the innovation done. Then the next news item is tensions with Pakistan overshadow BRICS summit. So we have already seen this. The Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism, the CCIT convention, is to be adopted by UN. But it has not been done so far. It was proposed by India in 1996 and it is yet to be adopted. So UN General Assembly, we are bringing in support for this convention from various sectors, various countries, and eventually we'll be able to go ahead with this. So what does it call for is a universal definition of terrorism. So it will ban on all groups how their funding would and their safe havens would be targeted. Then there will be persecution of all groups indulging in cross-border terrorism also. Then domestic laws will need to be amended to make provisions for cross-border terrorism, how to do extradition in such cases also. So all those matters are covered in this Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism proposed by India at UN, which is to be adopted. So US, there are concerns, of course. Concerns are basically that US soldiers are also there in international interventions without UN mandate also. So what will happen to them? Then Latin American countries have concerns over international humanitarian laws. That aspect is ignored in this. So what about that? And Organization of Islamic Countries, of course, they feel that target will be Pakistan. So, and the Palestine issue, Kashmir issue will be affected. So how to tackle that? So that's why it has not got enough support. But we are trying to make this prominent and a case for this strong so that it is adopted. So we are going to go ahead at BRICS Summit also making a case for this. In 2010, as I already said in the previous video, we had already, BRICS had already declared its support for CCIT in 2010 at its summit. So now we are demanding more of stern words coming in and more support coming in from BRICS on this matter so that it can be pursued further. Then this is the BRICS summit. Actually, BRICS and even BIMSTEC is coming in. So even why BIMSTEC is important for India as such is because it's road to Southeast Asia. So BIMSTEC has Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand and Nepal, Bhutan. So even earlier we have discussed in news that Sri Lanka wants BIMSTEC to be expanded and also have Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, these countries into BIMSTEC. So that is coming closer to ASEAN. Presently only Myanmar and Thailand are the two countries from ASEAN part of BIMSTEC. So bringing in more Asian countries, ASEAN is ASEAN, which is a strong multinational grouping in Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So that is a 10-member grouping. We have 2 here in BIMSTEC, planning to bring in 3 more. So that will be 5 members of ASEAN also in this expanded BIMSTEC. Whether this goes ahead or not, eventually even we want to improve our relations with BIMSTEC countries also. So of course India, Myanmar, Thailand highway, which we have proposed and which are working on it, the deadline of 2016 has been missed, but by 2019 we plan to complete this project. Then Kaladan transit facility, Sitwe port, which India is building in Myanmar to give it better access to its northeastern region too. So that is also proposed and it's planned to have be completed by 2019. Then the BCIM corridor, which is Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar corridor. So this is also going on to connect Kolkata will be going through. Then from Kolkata you go to Yunnan in China. This connectivity in between will be through Bangladesh and Myanmar. So Dhaka and Mandalay will be connecting points connecting Kolkata to China. So this BCIM corridor project is also an ambitious plan which involves BIMSTEC members. So we are going ahead with this also at BRICS Summit. Presently we are planning to pass an FTA also. So whether that goes ahead, some work comes up on that, we'll see. Of course, BRICS is an important grouping. It comprises of 5 members, but the total GDP is of 17 trillions of these 5 countries. So it is countering the rich, the G8 members who are the powerful members. So Russia is also a member, but it was banned from G8 recently because of its interventions in Ukraine and presently is intervening in Syria. So of course, Russia being here is also giving weight to the developing countries here. So BRICS summit is of significance. Let's see, it will be conducted today and tomorrow. Then the next news item is China refuses to budge on India's NSG bid and Azhar's banning. We have already seen this. So it does not want to give Nuclear Suppliers Group membership to India, and it does not want to revoke its technical hold on declaring Maulana Masood Azhar, LET leader, Lashkar-e-Toiba leader, presently in Pakistan, he is a Pakistani, to be declared as a terrorist in UN. So to UN to designate it as a terrorist, UN Security Council should accept it. China being a veto member, because UN Security Council P5 members are part of that committee also, which will decide on declaring him a terrorist. So China puts a technical hold on that, so that also does not go ahead. So it's still China is refusing to accept these 2 requests of India and blocking India's way ahead. The next news item is China-Bangladesh in 26 agreements after Xi and Hasina met recently. So Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina is also there in India on a visit as an outreach to BIMSTEC under the BRICS summit. So these 2 leaders have met and they have signed around 26 agreements. So China-Bangladesh relations are strong. China is investing It's becoming an economic partner for Bangladesh. So it is beneficial for Bangladesh, and it says that India is a traditional and historical ally. The relation between India and Bangladesh does not change. It's only economic support which we are getting from China. Then the next news item is Clinton says US could ring China with missile defense. So this is regarding the USA's pivot to Asia policy, under which USA is trying to bring its presence in Asia. So it is having military presence also in various countries, and now it is having the trouble which is there for Asia, for USA in Asia is North Korea. So North Korea has been declared as a rogue nation who has gone out of control in Asia, and China supports it. The entire economy of North Korea can work because of the support which it gets from China. Otherwise, they would be economically isolated. They would not get essential resources, material also. So China supports North Korea, of course, and it says that the North Korean leader is a dictator and he refuses to budge. So China says even our hands are tied. We cannot let the people suffer there. So we give it economic support, but then there's not much pressure which we can put on North Korea. So whether it is, how far is it true, we can only imagine. But anyway, so US wants to control North Korea, and if China is not doing it, then USA itself should go ahead and take matters in its own hands. So this thing, ring China with missile defenses, has come forth in the statement made by Hillary Clinton privately, not in public, but then this has come out in public. So whether it was accidental or intentional can just be guessed, since the presidential elections are also going on and she's a nominee. So she wants her views heard, come in public about her stand on China as well. Anyway, the pivot to Asia policy, we can take a look at this. This is China and North Korea lies here. So South Korea and North Korea being connected, adjoining to each other. So USA has presence everywhere, in Thailand, in Singapore, in Australia, major chunk, in Philippines, in Guam, which is its administered territory only, and Vietnam here, and Japan. So these are its allies. South Korea is a major ally of USA. So of course adjoining to North Korea too. So this is the pivot to Asia actually, where it has countries' support to have its presence in Asia whenever required. And of course the South China Sea dispute, where China claims the entire South China Sea is a concern for USA. So it needs its presence here. That's what Hillary Clinton wants to say. Then the next is, even along with this, there's another thing called string of pearls theory, where China is surrounding India. So like what USA is doing to China, China is trying to do to India. Of course, it is not officially acknowledged. USA does not say that pivot to Asia is against China. Same way, China does not say that string of pearls is there and that it is to surround India. But this is the fact on the map, that it has its presence in Sudan, in Gwadar port in Pakistan, in Maldives, in Hambantota port which is developing in Sri Lanka, then in Myanmar, Cambodia, Thailand, here all along. So this is called a string of pearls, you can see. Then the next news item is Israel cuts its ties with UNESCO over Jerusalem draft resolution. So what is the name that they have given to this hilltop compound, which is called Temple Mount? So Temple Mount is this region, Haram al-Sharif, which is the Arabic name for it. So UNESCO resolution called it Haram al-Sharif rather than Temple Mount, or did not use both the names. So that has made Israel angry, and it has decided to boycott, suspend cooperation with UNESCO. So it is a site of dispute, because Jerusalem is the holy site not just for Jews but for Muslims as well as for Christians, because the Jerusalem, the Israeli religion, Judaism, Moses is the leader of Judaism. He is a prophet even under Islam. So the founder of Judaism, Moses, the founder of Christianity, Jesus, are also messengers under Islam. So they are called former messengers of God, and the last one being Prophet Muhammad in Islam. So that dispute is already there. Then this is the map, Israel-Palestine conflict. This is Gaza Strip and West Bank, which Palestine presently lies in. Remaining is with Israel, and Jerusalem is at the border, where both we have Jewish sites and Muslim sites. If you look in this too, Muslim quarters here and Jewish quarters here in Old Jerusalem city. Then even Golan Heights in Syria are taken over by Israel. So that is a site of dispute. And Dead Sea is also in Israel, you can see. So this is Palestine presently. After 1967 war, Israel took over it, and it was actually an Ottoman Empire, came under League of Nations and eventually under Israel. So that is it for today. Thank you.